Good morning and hello everybody. My name is Ellie McLean. On this occasion, I want to tell you a story about Snow White. Let's get started. One day, there was a queen sitting around a very beautiful window while tailoring and seeing the snow. But accidentally, her finger was pierced by a sewing needle, so that 3 drops of blood dried out. The drops of blood fell down on the snow. The red color of the blood, which was stuck in the white color of snow, looked very pretty. Suddenly, the queen thought, "Ah, if only I had a child whose skin were as white as snow and whose lips were as red as blood." As the time went by, finally the queen gave birth of a very pretty princess, whose skin were as white as snow and whose lips were as red as blood. She grew up as a very pretty and kind-hearted girl. She was called Snow White. However, when Snow White was about teenager, the queen died because of an illness. After the queen's death, the king married again. The new king was wicked and hated Snow White. The queen gave order that Snow White was to be treated as a servant. Every day, she stood in front of her magic mirror while asking, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most fairest of them all?" And the mirror answered, "You are the most beautiful one of all." She asked the same question every day, and the mirror always answered the same thing. Until someday, the mirror answered that the queen was so beautiful, but the Snow White was much more beautiful than her. It made the queen so angry. Then she gave order to one of her huntsmen to take Snow White to the forest and kill her. The queen said, "Oh, my servant, come on, hurry up. This night you bring Snow White into the forest, far away from the castle, and you have to bring back her heart." And she responds, "Sure, my excellency." The huntsman had such a kind heart that he couldn't do the deed. She told her to run away. Snow White was all alone in the forest. At last, overcome by tiredness, she fell asleep under a tree. She found a place in which dwarfs lived. Their house was small and strange. Snow White entered the house and found it untidy. "What is this place? The window, the door, and a chimney pot is so small. What a tiny plate and the spoons! And the table was laid for 7 people. Ah, I will make something to eat for them. They will be glad when they come home and find meals ready." Then Snow White started to clean the entire house. In the upstairs, she found 7 little beds. She was so exhausted that she stretched out on one of the little beds. Not long after that, Snow White fell asleep on one of the beds. Toward dusk, 7 tiny little men marched homeward song. La la la, it's time to rest. What? Who make this? It is a bowl of soup. Upstairs was Snow White, fall asleep on one of the beds. The chief of the dwarf prodded her gently. "Who are you? Why are you here?" "Oh, I know. You are enchanter." And she responded, "Oh, I am not enchanter. I am Snow White. I am abducted from my castle. I don't know why I am abducted from my castle and thrown to the forest. I see your home this morning, and I make a food for you and cleaning this all. Then one of them said, "You can live here and tend on the house when we are done the mine. Don't worry about your stepmother that leaving you in this forest. We love you and we will take care of you. But if you see strangers, you will not to open the door. So many bad people live in here." Snow White promised to cook and look after them. Then she lived there together happily. Someday, the queen asked the same question to her magic mirror. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most beautiful woman in the land?" The magic mirror answered, "Snow White is the most beautiful woman on the land." It made the queen so angry, and she screams, "What? She's still alive?" Then the queen decided to kill her by herself. Unfortunately, the queen discovered where Snow White was living. Then she disguising herself as an old pleasant woman. Then she took a poisoned apple. Then she go out for the draft cottage. She knocked the door. Knock, knock, knock. Snow White was in the kitchen when she heard the sound from the door. "Who's there?" "I am an old pleasant lady. I'm not supposed to open the door to anyone." "You are a good girl." "Good girl? And as a good girl, I want to make a gift for you. One of my apples." Without any further ado, someone opened the door, just a tiny crack, to take the apple. "There now, isn't that a nice apple?" Snow White bit into the fruit and fell to the ground in a faint. "It's delicious, but wait, wait." "Ha ha ha, goodbye Snow White, ha ha ha." But as she ran back across the swamp, she tripped and fell into quicksand. "Help me, help me. Ah." Meanwhile, the dove came out from the mine to find out that the sky had grown dark and stormy. Worried about Snow White, they ran as fast as they could down the mountain to the cottage. They found Snow White lying still and lifeless, and the poisoned apple by her side. They wept and wept for a long time. "Hicks, Snow White, hicks." They laid her on a bed of rose petals and carried her to the forest. They put her in a crystal coffin. Then, on one evening, they discovered a prince admiring Snow White's lovely face through the glass. After listening to the story, the prince made a suggestion. The prince said, "If you allow me to take her to the castle, I will call in famous doctor to waken her from this peculiar sleep. She is so lovely, and I would love to kiss her." He did, and as though by magic, the prince's kiss broke the spell. Snow White opened her eyes. She had amazingly back to life. Now with love, the prince asked Snow White to marry him. "Would you marry me?" "Yes." From that day on, the Snow White lived happily in the great castle. The end. Thank you for watching my video storytelling about Snow White. Goodbye.